Ave cohort, we are back. It is Saturday, which means it is time for Pilum Teaches DCS. And we're going to be going up today with the F-4 Phantom II, and we'll be making some time to go up with the new F-14A-135 early, mostly to talk about the differences between the 135 early and the 135 late, of which there are not very many, but we'll talk about them anyway, which should make for a good time. But for now, let's go ahead and jump into the jet, get your knee boards ready, and we're going to be talking about the RWR system in the F-4E and handoff mode, which will be very important and crucial for anybody fighting in a slightly more modern environment than what most of the F-4 service life would have been able to see. So let's go ahead and get into this thing, pull up things in DCS. We'll be ready to go. Good morning, Chief. Alright, taking our walk around the jet while we are going up primarily for air-to-air. And we're got some coffee there, Chief. Thank you for the inquiries as to my beverage of choice. It is very early, so it is always coffee. Alright, so we have fuel bags here on the outer wings. We have Shrikes on the special weapon pylons. These are tuned to the low blow and flat face radars respectively. And respectfully, I suppose. We're carrying 4 sub-arrow missiles on board the aircraft. We're carrying 4 sidewinders on the special weapon racks. And we're carrying some Mark 82s there on that centerline pylon. We're kind of going up and treating it a little bit like we are going to be dealing with flying into a zone, and we're on a mission of some kind, and then, you know, might possibly potentially get jumped. Our adversary is flying somewhere over the nefarious city of Pilum. Truly a hive of scum and villainy in that they have a flogger that is up there defending them. So we're going to have to go over the hump that is Mount Charleston to Pilum and deal with them before they can steal all of Pilum's fireworks. It's very crucial that we get this mission done. But this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be fighting a MiG-23 flogger today. We might push into my little randomizer zone here for the NTTR, just to have a little bit of fun with the objectives that are up there too. And it'll allow us to use the handoff mode in the RWR. So let's go ahead and unpause, and we will begin taxiing as we talk a little bit about that.
Let's make like a tree and get out of here.
Okay, so firstly, what even is handoff? Well, RWR systems are not perfect. They rely upon
lights out and stripes aligned.
They rely upon the aircraft having a threat database of some sort, and that database recognizes certain types of
double check. Are we hitting the deck on this one?
Certain types of radar emissions as threatening for one type or another. It's my intercom. There it is. The F-4E's RWR system is rather limited for anybody who's flown the jet for a little while. It pretty much just shows you whether or not there is an AWACS present, whether or not there is an early model fighter radar present, or whether or not there is a later model fighter radar present. It's just a handful of icons to display those different things. But the receivers for the RWR system are always on. They're always receiving signal of some sort, and if they are receiving a signal, even if it doesn't recognize that signal in the specific, it will buzz at a certain frequency, provide sound and a pitch. As we're rolling down the line here, we'll just zoom in a little bit on the RWR panel. You'll recognize this from the F-5 and several other earlier model Western aircraft. But the button we're looking at here is the handoff button in the center. It is in its, default I'm not using it mode. And when we go ahead and turn it on, it'll put a diamond up on display there, and we'll be making use of that here very soon. What handoff mode does is it allows you to hear the raw receiver data at the pulse frequency. And if you can listen to a change in pulse frequency, that is a indicator that you have been picked up by either a track or a shooting radar.
Engine's good, airspeed off the peg. 80 knots. 100 knots. Gears moving. Flaps up. Gear up.
Okay, just like that, we're airborne. I'm going to ride the afterburner just a little bit here as we're climbing up to altitude. First, there's an air-to-air mode. Radar selected. Our sparrows are ready to go. And we'll start cruising out. We're going to try and approach here from the south, kind of near the California border. Now our scope is fairly clear. Check in with the range AWACS.
Focus 1-1 in field 1. Request bogey dope. Field 1, focus 1-1, 002-450 at 20,000 cold.
I don't think you could see him on the other side of that mountain. It's fine. And keep it nice and easy there for us. Target I'm worried about is probably right about at 18,000 feet, at least as long as he's behaving himself and doing what I told him to in the mission editor. We're going to climb just a little bit here. Get up there towards him. There he is. Kind of listening for that new guy beep. which he could be cold to us because he's on his own patrol out there, trying to keep the streets of Pahrump safe for whatever it is he's doing. Really just need him to light us up with his radar for a moment, and we can start using Handoff. The advantages of Handoff is that it allows you to listen in, for want of a better expression, because you get a tone response, to the sound that an enemy radar is making based on its frequency. The disadvantage is that it really does kind of reduce some of the situational awareness, as the only alert tones that you're receiving now come from the target that you're actually handed off to. So it is kind of a system that as you use it, you're going to be turning it on and off. It can be used from the back seat, and it will change for both the front and rear pilot.
Left 25 miles, 17,500. Not getting an IFF response. It's a bandit.
Okay, that's probably him. So as we enter his zone of defense, he will turn towards us. Preemptively put ourselves in here in handoff as he crosses the 30-mile marker. Really going to give us the first shot.
Locking bandit, right 5, 16 miles. Good luck.
It's our bandit right off the nose. It looks like he might actually be cold to us right now, but we're lighting him up like a Roman candle, so he should turn around here soon. Good Lord, he's only 14 miles away. Oh, his intercept dot's moving. He's drawing left. I'm going to shoot at him as soon as he turns around, but we should be able to hear the pulse of his radar here as soon as it starts to look at us. It's looking good. Box 1. Okay, there's his search tone.
Heads up, Nails. 12 o'clock.
And now he's defending.
I lost lock. All right, scanning the sky again. We've got a bandit. Flogger. 12 o'clock. 2 miles.
Oh, that's going to go into the flares.
Seven o'clock now. Twelve o'clock now.
So unload the jet and get away from him. Dump our excess stores.
Nothing to do, man.
That's him. I don't think 9M's going to do that. But we forced him defensive at least. But you can hear that solid tone there. And the diamond appears on the RWR system. As his radar passes through us there, and that sound that you're hearing is the raw radar data. It's the raw PRF coming through. That solid tone. And as it increases in pitch, that is indicative of a track or shooting radar. That's the sound to be on warning for. We're going to extend from him for a minute. 3 pulses for a new guy radar.
I'll continue with the standard scan pattern.
Tanker, I really don't give a damn, or not Tanker, AWACS, I don't give a damn about anything far away from me there. It's up above us here somewhere.
Focus 1-1.
152 for 6. Could be up here somewhere. Fox 1. Oh, he's not getting away from that. At least he shouldn't.
He's on 12 sharp. He's at our 9 o'clock.
Okay.
He's at our 2 o'clock. He's at our 12 o'clock. Ten o'clock now.
Yeah, if I was more patient, I would have been able to take him probably here.
Ten o'clock now. Eleven o'clock now. Eleven o'clock now. Ten o'clock now. He's at our 12 o'clock. Nine o'clock now.
Extend away from him. Here's the tone.
Nails 5 o'clock.
Yes, without handoff mode, he's silent as the grave. He's got me locked. I'm in a track search for him right now. But the RWR doesn't list that as a tracking radar there for us. And so, unfortunately, I still have one Sparrow left.
Okay, back to normal scan.
Let's see if we can get him.
Focus 1-1. Infield 1. Request bogey dope.
I would be mad if he went and hit the ground.
Focus 1-1. Infield 1. Request bogey dope.
All that flying and fighting, and he just decided to see fit while chasing me. I mean, I'll take it. A victory is a victory, but... No, he's not dead yet.
Focus 1-1. Infield 1. Request bogey dope. Infield 1. Focus 1-1. Bravo 070-435 at 17,000. Infield 1. Focus 1-1.
AWACS isn't seeing him.
Focus 1-1. Infield 1. Request bogey dope. Infield 1. Focus 1-1. Bravo 074-435 at 17,000.
Where did our friend go?
We have a bandit. Flogger. 12 o'clock. 5 miles.
Right off the nose. All right. Fox 1. Oh, you've got to be kidding me, missile.
1 o'clock high. 1 o'clock high. Now.
Here, come back here, you.
$11 o'clock. 11 o'clock now. He's at our 11 o'clock. He's at our 12 o'clock. He's right in front of us.
Jester the ever helpful.
Go get him, man. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock now. $5 o'clock high. 5 o'clock high. He's at our 3 o'clock. $11 o'clock now. We're on a 6. Good job. Come on, man. 12 o'clock. Fly Bandit is going down.
And quite literally none too soon. All right, we'll go put ourselves down at Creech. We'll talk a little bit about Handoff and what we've done with it. As we are, much closer to Creech than we are to Nellis. And with only 1,600 pounds left in the tank, it is definitely time to go home. Or rather, to a home. Just TACAN is 87 X-ray.
Okay, going back to regular scan pattern.
Surprised Chester hasn't yelled at me about fuel yet. But yes, Handoff is the mode of choice there for dealing with any of the fighters more modern than the MiG-21. The RWR system on board the F-4 is usually pretty good about picking up SAM sites. Most of those threat categories are already in the device and will beep and scream and do everything else for you when you're being locked up by them. But when it comes to the air threats, this particular model F-4 was really designed to punch the ticket of the MiG-21. Everything about it was designed around killing MiG-21s. The combat tree system that was installed on it and utilized, training, tactics, doctrine, missiles. Like, it was designed to be the fishbed slayer. And of course, anything inferior in terms of years released than the fishbed. So the 19, the 17, other contemporary aircraft like the F-5 tend to show up pretty well. But anything more advanced, like MiG-23 Flogger. Flogger was a brand new terror on the battlefield, and we were concerned about it because we were in the midst of developing the Tomcat, which, the Tomcat became the MiG-23's adversary. So as the F-4 fell into more and more obsolescence, understandably we have newer variants of the F-4 with better RWR systems, but we're kind of working with what Heapler has opted to model less for us here. And the interplay of those systems is a little more hands-on than what we've seen in a lot of other fighters. So if you're flying around and you're wondering why you're not seeing the MiG-29s as much as you would anymore outside of the surge pulses, if you're never certain when they've shot at you, Handoff is your method of choice there. Now, the other thing that you can do is press and hold Handoff for 3 seconds or more, and it should transition to the next target and allow you to listen to its pulses. Your indicator there, your key thing, is going to be the diamond around the RWR contact as it appears. That is the one that you are tracking in Handoff. That is the one that you're getting information for. So try not to be confused when you're in a high threat zone, but you do need to do a press and hold for 3 seconds there in order to shift that diamond around to a new target. Our speed brakes out here for a minute as we are getting set up for our approach. Speed brakes coming in. Let's go ahead and get our seat up. Configuration's good. And with only 1,000 pounds on the jet, we're going to be very floaty. And if we're flying it right, we should have that good AOA tone more or less the whole way down. Give it just a little bit of gas though, so I don't end up short of the runway. Chute deployed. Turn on our air conditioning system here while we're on the ground.
Roger. Wilcox in.
All right, and since we're back here, let's go ahead and grab ourselves the F-14A-135 early variant, which we will talk a little bit about the things we're doing. And do a little walk around of the jet.
Chief, turn on the ground power.
There are some key differences between it
Copy.
and the versions of the jet that we've been using before.
Now on.
I'm just going to go and get it started so we can get the alignment going.
Chief, connect ground air supply.
And then we'll talk about the things that I like and don't like about this jet.
Supply is now connected.
Alright, so let's start with our walk around.
Okay.
This is the only skin currently available by default for the 135 early, which is a early model Grim Reaper skin from 1978. Skin itself, very clean, very pretty looking.
Arm the ejection seat. I'm closing the canopy.
Some of the first things that we'll notice with the jet itself is that there's really no external differences between this variant and the later Model A variant that we got. As far as armament and equipment is concerned, all of the same things are available on this variant as there are in the other variant, with no difference. Despite being a younger Tomcat, for terms of its service life, there are still panels that are falling apart that need wiring and duct tape, and all of the wearing and everything else looks more or less the same as one that's been flying for 30 years versus one that's been flying for far less. So despite being touted as some kind of vast, big, new improvement, the 135A early is really the same as the 135 late. Flies the same, it feels the same. The only key difference is in avionics, and that's where we come to the switch and everything else here. This really shouldn't be labeled ECM, it should be labeled RWR. But this is the RWR display for the pilot. And it takes the place of the TID repeater. So you can either have your navigational information, the TID repeater to see what the WISO or RIO is doing. Rather, it's a Navy plane, so it's a RIO. Or you can have your RWR display. And we'll go get stuck in on things here in just a few minutes and deal with some aircraft. And kind of show how that one works. Kinds of things that it tells you, kinds of things that it doesn't. But yeah, my big thoughts with this one is we waited so very long for an earlier model Tomcat, and I personally would have been excited for the A45. I would have been excited for, you know, an early model Tomcat that is pre-configured for air-to-air only, because anyone who studied the history of the plane and did things with it there, the Tomcat didn't drop any bombs until 1992. It had, you know, provisions for such things. It had, you know, switches and everything else in the back seat for such things, but it was not actually rated for carrying or dropping any of the U.S. Navy's, you know, dumb ordnance until 1992, when we were starting to get to the point of going, hey, our A6s are getting ready to retire, we need an aircraft to replace it. And folks like Dale Snodgrass were part of a program to review the Tomcat and figure out if we should wire it up for AMRAAM or if we should wire it up for dropping bombs. And ultimately his decision, there's a fantastic documentary where he says, we got Sparrows and Feeney bombs, we don't need AMRAAM. If we've only got $1 billion to spend, and it's going to take us $1 billion to upgrade us to AMRAAM or $1 billion to upgrade us for dropping bombs, then let's drop bombs. Let's be useful. And that's where she took over the precision strike role over the retiring intruder. Alright, we're ready to taxi. Let's go ahead and tell the crew chief to get his chocks off my plane.
Chief, remove the wheel chocks.
Take our parking brake off. I'm so not taxiing to runway 3. That's all the way on the other end of the airfield. So we're going to taxi the way we had been, and we'll go fly off into the zone there and see who we can get stuck in with. My thoughts on this one is that Heapler, having seen the nonsense and the fallout from Razbam, have really decided to phone it in and do minimum effort to fulfill promises with Eagle Dynamics, a little bit of malicious compliance perhaps, as one of the things that they had mentioned very early on with their programs and projects is that they would deliver an earlier model Tomcat than the A135 late that we got already. They have technically done so for very little effort and very little difference, and I really can't blame them for it. All right, let's go ahead and get our wings out. I need to double check real quick that, yep, I didn't think so. Flaps are down, wings are out. You're not on a boat. Make sure we're not going to overspeed our flaps. And we'll start cruising. But yes, the RWR on this one is a more primitive version of the RWR system. It can display threats, but it does not always display what specifically which type it is. A little bit of gas just so we can climb. Kind of armed with the classic Cold War loadout. We got some 54As forward and Sparrow Fs ×3 and 9 Limas on the wingtip stations, wingtip glove stations, close to wingtips as we get on the F-14. Yeah, we're going to go and cruise past Creech Air Force Base and take a look at what might be operating in the southern vicinity here and go deal with it. It really does kind of feel like ED was phoning this one in, or not ED rather, but Heapler was phoning this one in. And again, I can't really blame them for it, but it can, yes. It has all of the same armaments availability as the F-14A
We
late.
have a Bandit 2-shift Bra 170. Scratch that. 320, 75 miles.
That's what I'm saying. There's no functional difference between this airframe and the 135 late. Like at first, when I first took this aircraft up, prior to doing things here, I thought the little strip wire, or a slip wire rather, was missing, but it is not. It's just harder to see. You know, like this is something that I'm glad I didn't have to pay anything extra for, because if I had to buy this as an additional module, I think I would have inspired a riot. In some ways, it's a little nicer having a little clearer spot here to the right, where I could see the accelerometer a little easier. But in others, like if I had the stick up, that's what I want to be doing in a fight, is moving my head to look around the flight stick. To look at the RWR and see what's going on. All right, looks like we've got two groups of fighters here in front of us. Magic of time compression, we will speed things up a little bit. Oh, I hit Shift R. That's the wrong key. All right, through the magic of different time compression and pressing the right buttons, we will actually go take care of that MiG-23 again from early on. This is not really what I wanted to do, but you know, we're here now, so we'll do it.
Chief, turn on the ground power. Chief, copy. Connect ground air supply. Copy. Ground power is now on. Ground air supply is now connected.
Rudder. I'm closing the canopy.
So we'll go over the hump or towards Pahrump again, and deal with the defender of Pahrump.
Chief, turn off the ground power. Chief, disconnect ground air supply.
Yeah, while I'm here on the ground here, we'll just pull up Pylon 8B. And a targeting pod. It's there. It's available to it. Like, honestly, I would have been happier if it was, by default, more arms limited to a more traditional earlier role. You know, really kind of let that... Like, the good things that I can say about the RWR system being this way with this aircraft instead of having a little display up there for both front and back seat is it does facilitate a little bit more teamwork, but that's kind of a stretch. You know, that's me like searching for something good to say about it rather than having something good to say about it. But at the same time, if Nick Gray just likes threatening the folks at Razbam because that's the way he's always done business, and people at Heapler are experiencing the same sort of blowback for getting projects done. Are we ready yet, Chester? Okay, it's almost done. Exactly. I would like to see some of the earliest model Tomcats, and I'm kind of with Chief on this one. I kind of want the one with the little inflatable glove vanes from 1975 with the Fall of Saigon and its first actual combat deployment. I think that would be a beautiful aircraft to use, and one that's a lot more limited for the kind of role that it was doing.
We're ready to taxi.
But instead, we essentially have something that really could have been solved with you know, like a mission editor change to just incorporate this RWR system on the other jet. You know, a mission editor setting or perhaps a rearm setting to go, you know, I want to be this block variant and that block variant, because there's no need to duplicate anything the way that they have. You know, like I'm even a little miffed that the A135 early has its own skin folder. So if I want to be able to access all of the other F-14A skins, I have to do what I did in the first place for the B, because the both A variants and the B variant are all structurally identical. So if you copy your skin folder from one file to another, you can have access to all of the different skins across all three platforms, but that also means you have to duplicate your skin folders 3 times. So like there's a lot that they super missed on this one, and I don't know if that's going to be solved with just, you know, a hotfix or something similar. But the differences between the 135 early and the 135 late are so insignificant that I'm really surprised that this wasn't just a mission editor option. And there's other things that I would like to see with it too, like, you know, if it's supposed to be an earlier variant, maybe have some of them that haven't fallen apart quite so much. Remove the wiring issues, give it cleaner panels, dress up the interior a little bit. You know, make it less worn rather than more worn. Alright. Enough of that though, let's go do something fun. And at the same time, show off its RWR system. Like, it sounds the same, it feels the same, it flies the same. I didn't even have to rebind controls. Alright, let's use just actual time compression this time rather than, you know, hitting Shift R and resetting the single player mission.
Request bogey dope.
You know, we're just about set up here. Select a Sparrow here. And let's go ahead and start cooling our sidewinders. Chester has at least picked him out.
We've got a Bandit, 305, 39 miles. Roger that. Okay, got him locked. Target, 39 miles.
With any luck at all, we should see him turn around and then he'll start beep booping our RWR system.
Target, 32 miles.
And he's pointing almost right at us now.
Target, 25 miles.
You should have been hearing new guy boops by now, but, you know, this RWR system doesn't work that way.
Target, 19 miles. That's a MiG-23. Target, 13 miles. Fights on!
He's starting to look at us now.
Nails, 12 o'clock. 430 knots. 12 o'clock.
Fox 1.
12 o'clock low. He's Splashed. Bandit is down.
The best value module.
5 o'clock low.
He's very dead, but it wasn't as exciting as I would have liked for the RWR experience.
5 o'clock.
So we're going to go ahead and push north. Value, I think, has got a few key
Coming up on
features
400.
that I would associate with it. The first one is the realism of the experience. The second one is what can it do, where is it useful? And the third is, you know, like the physical attributes of what is it you get for your money. Now, some of the unfortunate things there with it is that I would say that probably the best value module for meeting all of those different criteria is still to this day probably the F-18 Hornet, as you get a carrier-capable platform that can carry all kinds of different weapons, glide weapons, anti-ship weapons, air-to-air missiles, air-to-ground missiles. Gives you the option for carrier-based landings, gives you the option for air refueling, has all sorts of different bells and whistles associated to it on one plane. So that is the good thing that I could say about the Hornet, is that if I had to pick one module to go, I don't have a whole lot of money to spend on DCS, and I kind of want a
We've got, friendly, bra, 030, 86 miles, Angel 17, and a friendly, bra.
Shut up, Chester. You are way too excited for somebody 86 miles away. But I want you to know that. But yeah, no. In terms of overall value, I would say the Hornet probably offers the most in a single package. In terms of things that you like to do for early Cold War type stuff, the Mirage F1 really does give you a whole lot of aircraft for just a handful of dollars, which is nice too. The JF-17, the F-16, both kind of have the same sort of capabilities as the Hornet for everything except landing on a boat. It gives you a lot of good features there for that. Not all of them yet, but with hope, The Tomcat does kind of rate up there a little bit too, only because it also gives you the option for doing carrier things. And having the option to do carrier things really does open up a lot of new territory for folks. The differences between the A variant and the B variant are somewhat substantive. Personally, I would rather see the BU and the earliest Model A we can get our hands on, and let those be the two flagship products, because the B variant that we currently have and the A135 late or early, because as we've covered here so far, there's not a whole lot of appreciable differences between the 135 early and the 135 late. But if we were to have those, see, we have SAM, add high. I'm being tracked by a SAM. Probably this SA3 site that I know is here, but it doesn't tell me anything like that. It just tells me SAM and high. He's inside of 10 miles. Box 1. It knows it was a bad decision, yeah. Splash Bandit, defensive Sam. Unknown aircraft intercept radar. That's probably the, yeah, that's the MiG-19 behind us. So it'll tell you type, but you got to look down in the deep corners of it. And again, oh man, look at that stick. What could possibly be locking me up? Anytime now, compressor stall. Alright, there's our bad boy. Hold that. Mud Spike, 12 o'clock. Sam, mid and high. So we have a mid-level SAM threat tracking, probably like a search pulse from a more distant SAM site, and then the high threat one, and it's giving us directions. One of them here, and one of them at Pipe Mesa. Now you've really got to pay attention to your indicator lights and everything else. What's he babbling on about? But the lines will point to you as far as what it's seeing and from where.
There's a friendly. 285, 50 miles, Angel 16.
What's interesting is the RWR like showing up when it actually detects something. Let's investigate that. That's worthwhile.
Shit! We got a stinger, 3 o'clock. Mud on our nose, mud on our nose.
Sure isn't. Sam mid and high. Sam mid is shooting at me.
Singer, 11 o'clock. Here we go again. Sam launch, 11 o'clock. Hot, brake right. Sam, 4 o'clock. Hot. Sam, 4 o'clock. Hot. Oh, come on.
I think mid actually means SA2. Just knowing the kinds of threats that I put out there.
Showing dirt, 8 o'clock.
Is that Curiosity? Yep, that is trimmed down.
Neil, 7 o'clock. Shit, we've got nails, 9 o'clock. Sam launch right, 5 o'clock. Hot, brake left. Sam, 5 o'clock. Hot. Sam launch right, 5 o'clock. Hot, brake left. The sink rate is too high. Sam, 6 o'clock. Hot. Sam launch right, 6 o'clock. Hot, brake left.
It's interesting that it flickers that overlay. That feels like it's a bug if it's not
Nail, 7 o'clock.
not supposed to do that.
We got a singer, 10 o'clock. And shit, nails, 8 o'clock.
Sam high. It's the SA3 site that's parked out there. Like, on the one hand, is it nice that it gives me, like, better direction but not distance? Sure. But that's kind of it. It tells me nothing else about what that SAM threat is, although, you know, again, if this was an appropriate era Tomcat, the only thing I'd be doing with it is air-to-air.
Okay, we're on. Sam launch, 12 o'clock. Hot, brake left.
Almost need like a toggle or a 3 position just for that one switch in order to change back and forth on them. Alright, let's go put ourselves down here. And we can experiment a little more with the F4 Phantom. Maybe go hunt down those SAM sites and use the handoff mode in it and see how it works in the air-to-ground game. Well, that's been a decent look so far, at least at the F-30 or F-14A-135 Alpha, or early rather. Notice there's a couple of button differences in there too, like the TAC and command button doesn't show who's actually controlling it.
We've got nails, 9 o'clock.
Okay. Go ahead and break the deck. It's an A model cat, so we're going to leave that speed brake out the entire time we're cruising in. It's not procedure for a B model cat. Engine response is a little better on a B model cat with the TF-110s instead of the TF-30s. Trim's a little extreme. Hanging on the blades though at about 150 knots, so slow speed handling is really saving us there. rudder work, of course. Getting a little quick. Come back on the power some. GEF 110s, you're right.
300 feet. 200 feet.
A little windy out here.
150. 30. Man, the seal will bust their balls for that.
We bolted on 10 feet of runway. Which is fine, that one wasn't looking good anyway. I'll always tell the pilots in Pantheon that I train, Norris Defender flight, and I will accept dozens of goes around and aborted landings and everything else rather than forcing one that you knew was bad on the way in and could have aborted safely. And I might still give you a hard time if you go 8 rounds around the boat before hooking a wire of any kind. But that is a whole lot more playful, a whole lot less serious than, you know, I crashed into the back of the boat and damaged the carrier to the point where nobody could use it. Or taking an otherwise stellar mission where everybody got in, fought hard, and now came home and crashed on the end of the runway on account of, you know, I just wanted to put the airplane down quickly. It's one thing if you're, you know, busted and broken and you're just trying to make the best landing you can and you know it's going to be bad, versus an airplane that's in good condition, has plenty of gas, and, you know,
1,000 feet.
you threw it for no other reason than you know, it was bad, I knew it was bad, and I just pushed it anyway because I thought I could save it.
400 feet. 300 feet. 200.
It's looking better, but we're still crapping it a bit.
100.
And full DLC applied. Full spoilers. Left stick.
Shit, you're too fast.
Uzi 1, focus, 1-1, bra, 325, 460 at 12,000, cold.
It is kind of the peak of make sure you get it right the first time. But that's why the LSOs were pilots and could look at something coming up and go, no, that's bad. You power up and go around versus, all right, cut the engine and come on in. All right, well, we know from our playtime here that we have a high and a mid SAM threat out there somewhere. So let's go ahead and swap airframes again, and we will go deal with them. All right, let's choose a slot, go back to the F4. Don't think of it as me telling you the SAM was mid. Think of me as the F-14 telling you the SAM was mid. I was just doing Mr. Coach Klein told me to, visualize an attack. All right, let's make sure we got the right weapons here. Low blow on the front right pylon. That's flat face. Let's go with fan song. Gas will be helpful. Some bombs to do some follow-up.
Request rearming.
Let's do it.
Copy.
So now we're going to put it all together. We're going to go attack those SAM sites. We're going to use the handoff mode to see if we can pick out when those SAM threats are switching their radars around. You can carry the triple rack FFARs in the center line, but not the Zunis. The Zunis are the only ones you can't put. Actually, you know what? That's a good call. Let's do triple rack Zunis on the outers. So you can put those on stations 9, 8, 2, and 1, but not 5. Sorry, no special weapon adapters for a 4 rack of Zunis on the on those stations either.
Request rearming. Copy.
Alrighty, what alignment do you want? Alright, stored heading it is.
Alright, give her the reset by Hort.
Roger. Carts locked and loaded. Rearming complete.
Yep, that's what I was figuring too, that they should be placeable there. It's no different than any of the other racks.
If you're done with the generators, I can start the alignment.
If you're done with your attitude gesture, we can get to work. Yeah, allow 3 pods for FFAR centerline.
Canopy down and locked. Lights out and stripes are aligned.
Alright, sorry about that. Just had to take the headset off for a second. Let's go and get everything else dialed in for combat. We're going to set our bombs preemptively for a ripple pattern. Should be able to use the same one for the Zunies. That should be fine. That just looks angry. Trim 3 points down.
Slats are out. Flaps down. Roger.
And we're going to go ahead and attack
Yes, sir. Chalk's out.
probably Yucca Pass
Okay,
first.
sir. We're good to go. Have a safe flight and disconnect.
Sure. Diversion steering set.
That's the click. That should be done then.
Prime sync clear. Go ahead. All right, ready to taxi. All right, let's go flying. All right, tell me, just how low are we going today? Okay, how low you think? Pucker factor 10. Got it.
I don't know how to tell you this, Jester, but there's SAMs out there. And they could throw things at us. And I like using, you know, silica and granite for my chaff rather than aluminum. It would be if he wasn't so igneous. Living his sedimentary life. Sitting in my back seat.
Engine's good, airspeed off the peg. knots. Airspeed 100 knots.
Highway to the downtown zone. I love Iron Hand. It's my thing.
Gears moving. Flaps up. Gear up.
Okay, so as we knew from cruising around in the earlier model Tomcat, we have a high SAM threat here, and we have a mid threat here. It's going to be the SA-3 at Yucca Pass and the SA-2 at Paiute Mesa. My plan is to probably attack the SAM site at the Paiute Mesa first, just because of the terrain. We should be able to get into it, have it shoot at us, visually identify where the SAM site is, and then let them have it with the fan song trackable Shrike. Then we can turn around and follow up with an attack on the SA-3 site, because I would really rather hit this SA-3 from west to east and make use of this mountainous cover right here. So we're going to go ahead and divert rather to the Paiute Mesa capture waypoint.
Diversion steering set.
But we got all of the tools we need to get this job done. Use the magic of some time compression here so we can get into the fight. Use more time compression to get closer to the fight. Paiute Mesa will probably attack south to north. But as we've largely cleared out the air threats with the Tomcat, we can follow up now with the Phantom. .325 for 70 miles. Up here.
Positive IFS. Target is a friendly.
I think the next one that we'll do might be Monday during the day, actually, because Saturday next week I'm at work. Is work with Combat Tree. I've got to do a little bit of work in the mission editor for that, but we should be able to use that to hunt down the proverbial hondos with reading the MiG-21's IFF transponder. All right, there's our SA-3. Let's go ahead and listen in on him with Handoff. We are going to go ahead and go plane in hand and just turn away from him. But what we're listening to right now is the pure radar tone information from his radar. Kind of like the Vigan, you'll use those tones to identify what's coming after you. And whenever you hear a new guy pickup, which is the 3 short beeps, it is always at the pulse frequency of whatever the radar is. So by listening to the chirps and swirps, or and everything else, you can really start to get a feel for what's looking at you, even if all you're really getting from the RWR is this is a early model fighter, this is a later model fighter, or this is a early warning aircraft. There's the SA-2.
Mud, 12 o'clock. SA-2.
And if I press and hold handoff, that should cycle us over to the other SAM system. So now you're getting 1 tone off of the seeker head for the SA-2. And getting the RWR information for the SA-3.
We got a stinger right on our nose. SA-2.
Okay, missile defeated. Let's go ruin his day. For those musically inclined, the step-ups for each pulse frequency changes the note being played to you as well, which are all associated with the same systems. So that's also something else to keep in mind, is if you hear the similar note but in a different octave, that's probably a pretty good indicator of you having been shot at. That is the launch platform there, with the smoke having been blown by the wind. Let's see if we can get that track radar to look at us again.
We have new bogeys. Just going to do a quick IFF. We have an enemy 2-ship, Bra, left 5, 21 miles, 13,500.
Magnum. That's probably going to fall short as he stopped looking at me. It's one of the prime limitations of the Shrike is that you have to have the radar looking at you continuously in order for it to maintain guidance. I didn't bring the actual white phosphorus smoke markers along for the ride today, but if I had, that type would now be marked.
We've got mud. 9 o'clock. SA6. Heads up, new bogey. Right, 45, 18 miles, 13,500. Not getting an IFF response. It's a bandit.
I would say that site is sufficiently dealt with. Which is going to give us enough materials now to go ahead and attack
Okay.
Yucca Pass.
Nails, 7 o'clock. Diversion steering set.
Being shot at by gun platforms, but that is a whole lot less worrisome than the SAM threats that were there, including the IR system. Oh, we got friends. Let's get away from our friends. Far away from that target area, 7 miles. All right. And bump on up. Come on, low blow. Oh, buddy. You're just gonna let me look at you like that.
Captured. Wilco.
That hurt. Let's take a look at the TAC view there on that one. And we are about at that TAC view review time, so let's go ahead and roll through all the things that we looked at earlier today. Just going to pull up the TAC view imagery here, and then we will flip things over in the stream so that you can see it. And again, TAC view is a lovely program that really allows us to get into the meat and potatoes about what things happened. And how really kind of show us what all's going on. But in this particular circumstance, we're going to be looking at and talking through some of the things that we were doing with the handoff system. And now we can see that happening in the game. So our first victim here was the MiG-23, which, again, the MiG-23 is not one that we see affecting the RWR of the F-4 outside of a new guy beep and a more advanced aircraft profile image, which he did right about here. Once he locked us up, however, used in the regular mode, the RWR system did not track a launch. We have to put it in handoff mode to listen to the PRF change as he goes from a lower pitched search to a higher pitched track or shoot. And it is track or shoot. It's not going to tell you which one that it is unless the radar has 3 different, operating modes and pitches to let you know that it's actually guiding a weapon to you. In the case of the 23, it goes from a lower pitch sound to a higher pitch sound, and that's all you get. There's no third intermediary step. So now that we know that he is looking at us, in this case, he's actually turning away from us there. He doesn't find us until about here because I shoot right as he starts to lock us up. And he got away from that one. That Sidewinder went in the flares. That one chased after it. Sidewinder goes off in the Kerbal space program. I break away from him and separate. Come back to chase him again. Dodges that Sidewinder, dodges that, or Sparrow, then Sidewinder. No, I did hit him with my first gun pass. All right. Just didn't hit him hard enough. We got on him quick, too. Very happy with that, other than the missiles not doing what they needed to do. Corkscrew around for a while. I break the engagement. He goes back to defending Pahrump. He's looking for that Hero of the Pahrump Union Award. That Sparrow does not track. Go into the merge again. All right, so this one, I was on him. I was getting into good position. I overshot him. I was too quick. Tried to correct for that a little bit. He got in behind me. I was less than pleased about that. But come on, let me play it there. We have a good reversal back and forth. Then I get back behind him again. He has missiles on board his jet. He's got a pair of R-24s and a pair of R-60s on board. He just never got in a position where he could employ them, as he was either on the defensive or not pointed in a good direction. All right, we landed there. We swapped aircraft. And that's also where I accidentally reset rather than going through and hitting the time compression button, which is my fault. But yeah, the PRF tones is what we were looking for there. That's the big part. And we heard those on the stream. And we're able to use the handoff mode successfully. Using the F-14, we learned about its RWR system and a lot of its limitations. It really knows SAM and airborne intercept. And not a whole lot else. It also takes the same place as the TID repeater, and it really does kind of feel like Keepler phoned this one in big time, as there's not really a whole lot of appreciable differences outside of the avionics between this and the newer Tomcat, and it really could have been solved by having just a mission editor option to toggle between one version of the aircraft and the other, rather than making an entire new bespoke version. Here, though, we were getting shot at by the high threat SAM, which is what it classified it as. It said it was high. And it gave us a line on the RWR system that pointed back towards the radar, and it gave us probably the world's saddest RWR missile warning alert that I've ever heard. And then it classified the SA-2 as a mid-threat SAM. So you heard it here first. The F-14 thinks the SA-2 is mid. And away from him. Got shot at again. Tried sending a couple of Phoenixes out, probably after those MiG-23s. But alas, came in and landed. And then it was phantom time again. This time hunting the things that shot at us. We used handoff mode again to see and detect the different pulse frequencies of the two tracking radars, which of course those are only going to have one mode, because they're a track radar. If a track radar is looking at you, it is intending to shoot. Fired our Shrike, which he was illuminating me for a moment, but I think I got into his minimums. And he stopped looking. So the missile fell short. And went ahead and we did our pop-up. We were shot at by an SA-9, which we trashed with flares. And then immediately answered with our first salvo of Zunis. And then tore into the SA-2 site with the rest of our Zunis. Hit by some machine gun fire, nothing major there. Sparkas didn't like us too much. We were being chased by more floggers, though. Bumped up, fired our Shrike. Threw bombs at it. How did we do against the radar system? Okay, they're all dead. Yep. However, I think the Gopher got us. No? Yes, maybe. No, we got hit by an S-60. All right. No, Pilum hit by Igla. All right. Where'd the Igla come from? Oh, you bastard. Good shot, Mr. Igla man. You would not have had it had I stayed lower to get out of dodge. I would have been behind this little hill and he wouldn't have seen me. Those are the kind of things that I use TacView for myself, is to review the flight, look at those little aspects of it and go, what could I have done differently here to make the next flight better? But that was it for the F4 today, with the RWR system, the handoff mode for the RWR, swapping it back and forth between targets. It can be used air-to-air or air-to-ground, but it's certainly a little more important air-to-air given the threat database is mostly for SAMs in the F4. So just things to keep in mind. With that, folks, our upcoming things that we have to go with, we are going to be playing on Monday. As I am off of work from Monday, I'll probably be streaming earlier in the day, as well as meeting our usual time for DCS Monday, followed up with classic games. We might play a little bit of Demon's Winter there if I can, remind myself about how a non-Atari ST version of that game works, as I picked that one up from Good Old Games since it was on sale. It should be a good time. Play some good classic stuff, classic adventures. We have Friday, which we will not be playing Arma 3, as I will be at work on Friday and Saturday. So both of those streams will either get reshuffled around to a different day, or we'll do something on a different day for a recording. Should be an interesting time of it, to say nothing else. But with that, always ask for consent. Try to communicate as best you can with the partners. Try to be genuinely decent human beings. Appreciate all the likes, follows, and subscribes. Those things really do keep the channel moving, flowing, and going. And you can catch those things there on the YouTube channel there at Pilum RWR. I do need to update that quite a bit and get some videos uploaded. We should be able to get to that for later on in the week. With that, folks, have a fantastic day. Hope you learned something. And we'll talk to you later on. Pilum out.